Hello. Today I'm going to talk about brain and the school. This topic is very important because the brain is the control center of the human body, and the schooling is the structure that protects it. First, I will explain the anatomy, then the functions, and finally we talk about a design related to this system. First, let's talk about the anatomy. The brain is a soft organ located inside the skull because it is very delicate. It needs protection, and that protection is given by the skull and other structure. The skull is made of different bones that are joined together. These bones form a rigid structure that surrounds the brain. We count the skull into two main parts: the cranial part, which protects the brain, and the facial part, which from the face. The cranial bones include the frontal bone, which from the forehead, the parietal bones on the throat, the temporal bones on the sides, and the occipital bone at the back. There are also deeper bones like the sphenoid and ethmoid, which are important for the base of the skull. All these bones are connected by sutures, which are immovable joints. This makes the skull very strong and stable. For example, this. The brain has three main parts. First, the cerebrum, which is the largest part. It is divided into two hemispheres, right and left. Each hemispheres have different functions, but they work together. The cerebrum is also divided into lobes. The frontal lobe controls moving, decision making. The parietal lobe process sensory information like touch. The temporal lobe is related to hearing and memory, and the occipital lobe is responsible for vision. Then we have the cerebellum, localized at the back and below the cerebrum. It is smaller but very important because it controls coordination, balance, and posture. For example, when you walk or ride, the cerebellum has make movements smooth and precise. And finally, we have the brainstem, which connects the brain to the spinal cord. It includes the midbrain, pons, and medulla oblongata. The brainstem controls vital functions such as breathing, heart rate, and blood pressure. These are automatic functions that we do not control conscience. In addition to the bones of the skull, the brain is protected by three layers called the meninges. The dura mater, which is the outer and stronger layer, the arachnoid mater, which is the middle layer, and the pia mater, which is very thin and directly covers the brain. Between these layers, there is a fluid called cerebrospinal fluid. The fluid has several functions. It cushions the brain, it reduces the impact of the movements, and it helps transport nutrients and remove gas. So, the brain is not only protection by bone, but also by the membranes and fluids. And now Let's talk about the functions. The brain is the most important organ of the nervous system. It controls almost everything in the body. It receives information and from the environment processes that information and says response. For example, if you touch something hot, receptor in your skin send signals for the brain. The brain processes that information and sends response to move your hand away. This happens very fast in milliseconds. The cerebrum is responsible for higher functions such as thinking, reasoning, memory, language, and emotions. For example, when you study, your cerebrum is working. When you remember something, your cerebrum is involved. When you make decision, is also involved. The cerebellum is responsible for coordination. For example, when you walk, run, or ride, the cerebellum helps control the presence of the those movements. Without the cerebellum movements will be uncoordination and unstable. The brain stems control vital function, for example, breathing, heart rate, and blood pressure. They are essential for survival and they happen automatically. The brain also communicates with the rest of the body through the spinal cord and nerve. So basically, the brain is like a control center that sends and receives signal constantly. Now, the skull also has important functions. Its main function is protection because the brain is very soft and, and sensitive. The skull prevents injuries. For example, in accidents, the skull absorbs part of the impact. So we can see that the structure and function are related. The skull protects and the brain controls. And now, the size is meningitis. Meningitis is an inflammation of the meninges, the layers that cover the brain and spinal cord. The cause of meningitis can be different: bacteria, virus, and fungi. The most dangerous type is bacterial meningitis because it progresses quickly. When the meninges become inflamed, it increases the pressure inside the skull. This affects the brain and the normal function. The main symptoms include severe headache, fever, neck stiffness, sensitive to light, confusion, nausea, and vomiting. In some cases, patients can also have seizure or loss of conscience. These symptoms occur because the brain is affected by inflammation and pressure. Diagnosis is usually made with clinical evaluation and tests like lumbar puncture. Treatment depends on the cause. If it's bacterial, antibiotics must be given immediately. If viral, treatment is usually support like rest and hydration. Early treatment is very important because many heats can cause permanent damage or death. If not is not treated on time, prevention is also important. There are vaccines that protect against some types of bacterial meningitis. In conclusion, the brain is a vital organ that controls all the function of the body, from movements to emotion and vital process. The skull protects the brain and provides a strong structure that prevents injuries Also, design like many hits show how important it to the protect the system and detect problems early. Understand the anatomy and function of the brain helps us understand how the body works as a whole. And thank you.